everyone, and welcome back for another episode of Empowering Intuitives Talk Show. And I'm your host, Reverend Dr. Michelle Walker. And we are on A1R Psychic Radio and Moonstruck TV. And so I'm excited for you guys to be here tonight. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk about a topic that I love, and it's very near and dear to me. And it kind of encompasses a lot of different things. So I know, I have a little buddy that wants to say hello here. Little puppy, this is Remy. So Remy is just a little pup, so he's kind of wanting his attention. Anything goes, I guess, here at Empowered Wellness. So anyway, tonight, what I'd like to talk about is a synchronicity walk. You know, in the metaphysical community, they talk a lot about walking meditations, the synchronistic walk, and what is that? And coming from a medical background, of course, I'm going to say that it's very beneficial for us to be outside walking in nature for many reasons, right? And some of those reasons are, one, of course, it's good for your cardiovascular health to get out and to actually be walking. It's also very good for us because we're surrounded by all these electronics, right? Even more now than ever before. And people are sleeping on electronic beds. They are surrounded with computers and phones. And so these electrical magnetic frequencies are emanating all of these positive ions, and that affects your overall health. And so being in nature, walking, earthing, grounding, being outside walking helps offset that and reduces those positive ions. And when you have a decrease in those positive ions, it actually improves your overall immune support. It helps with your sleep. It helps reduce inflammation in the body. Doesn't that sound like most conditions that most people have? So that's looking at it from a medical perspective, right? I like to look at things from a lot of different perspectives. So, and if you follow me, you know that I like to look at things in a lot of different perspectives. But a synchronistic walk is a little bit more than just walking for your good health, right? We're going to take it a step further, and we're going to think about tuning in to our intuition as we're walking. So instead of setting your mind to say, okay, I'm going to go here, I'm going to go there, I'm going to walk for a mile, and you just are controlling the circumstances, a walk where you kind of surrender to spirit is totally different. So what you do for this is, say you just take a few deep breaths, you just invite the divine in. I like to say a prayer to connect, but you can do it just by intention of saying, okay, my angels, teachers, guides, I'd like for you to direct me on this walk, on this journey. Maybe you set a specific time that you have to do, but that's it. That's all you set. And you just allow the rest to unfold. So, like I said, I like to get centered, take a few deep breaths. I invite the divine by saying a prayer, such as, I welcome the divine. I ask for all my highest vibrational beings, my angels, teachers, and guides to come forth, offer their love, guidance, and support for my highest good. And I ask that you direct me in any direction for my highest learning. So, then you just start to walk, and you start to notice things. You allow spirit to direct you, whether you're going to go a block and make a right, or you're going to continue straight, you're going to go off to the left. Where is it taking you? And, you know, I do this sometimes when I'm driving as well. It's the same concept where you allow the divine to guide you. So I give a great example in my book, where I take this drive to Lilydale. I go the same way, and I usually have the same stops. I like to stop the least. You know, I'm one of those people. Some people like to stop a lot. Me, I'm like, nope. When it's time to fill up, you know, I have very targeted stops. And this one time, Spirit said, get off on this exit. And I thought, really? Why would I get off on this exit? And I started to question it and I argued with spirit and I was like, well, I could stop and use the restroom. I could, get something to drink, but it's only a couple more stops. I'll just wait at like my normal one that I go to. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I learned very quickly that the divine was trying to guide me away from the accident that was up ahead. And if I would have stopped at this other stop and filled up and did all the things that I was going to do at the other stop, I would have had a lot of it open up. So it was just interesting when spirit teaches you in real time like that, right? So other times I may drive and say, Spirit, should I go straight? Should I turn left? Should I turn right? When there's alternate routes to get to the same place, and see what they say. And don't question it, just go for it. And they do this a lot if there's traffic, if there's school buses along my route, they will redirect me all kinds of ways. Or the other way you can use this is if you're driving or walking and you're not quite sure where you're going. If your GPS isn't working and you can say, okay, am I on the right track? And listen to your internal guidance. So, your internal guidance, I hear very clearly, but not everybody does. So, you may get a knowingness or you may get a gut feeling whenever you say, should I go straight? And it might feel right. You might get nothing. And when you say, should I go left? You might get a gut sinking in your gut. So, it's learning to listen to your body and how the divine is working with it, right? So it's really interesting when you allow them to um, guide you. And so think about this. Anytime you've been out walking, have you all of a sudden looked up and felt like you were drawn to the sky? For me, that happens even when I'm driving or walking. I'm always drawn to something. Spirit is calling to my attention. So maybe there's a reason that they're calling your attention there. Pay attention to what they're drawing you to. Maybe you're kind of in your own thought process and you're walking, and all of a sudden they say, or you get this feeling like maybe there's a car coming, and you kind of get off to the side. Maybe you walk and there's movement in the trees. One other great thing that you can do while you're on this synchronistic walk is listen to far away sounds and see what you pick up, see what you hear. And this is an exercise in building your clairaudience or your hearing the divine. So when you're walking, listen. What do you hear? Far away sounds. I promise you that they will direct you and draw your attention to specific things. Your job is to observe and to follow where they want to take you. As long as it's safe. Obviously, if you feel it's very unsafe, don't do it. But the divine is not going to guide you into unsafeness. They are always looking for your highest good and trying to protect you. So I encourage you, as the weather starts to get nice, to get outside and go for a walk. You might want to do this synchronistic walk. Journal your experience and then do it again and see what happens. The more you listen to your internal guidance, the more you can receive the information from spirit, and it will become more magical. The world around you will all of a sudden start to have this more magical component, and you really can appreciate the simplicity. Have you ever had in your life where you could just sit outside and you feel that sun on your skin and it just feels amazing? Or the smell of a flower, it's so intense that the aroma overtakes you. That intensity, right? Not every day. Maybe like if you smelled the same rose, it wouldn't catch you on another day because you're busy, your mind's going. But when you can relax and when you can just be in the present and really engulf in the whatever's going on, you can embrace it more fully. This is also the synchronistic walk is also about focus and unfocusing and allowing. There's so many lessons within this, right? You can also, if you find that really hard to just start walking and let go, one thing I would suggest is maybe doing a walking meditation for a little bit before you invite the divine to guide you. So maybe you'll focus on your breath work as you walk. And you begin to take slow, deep breaths in, slow, deep breaths out, and you just walk. It becomes almost like hypnotic, walking like that. I love doing meditative walks because if you can change your physiology, change your breath work, change your physical motion, you can get out of that busy monkey mind that we all have, right? So it's really important beginning of your day to find some way of centering, grounding, and starting the day in a positive. So this might be a good time to do it. If you find that that's too challenging, after work is a great time to do this because it can help you reset, calm that monkey mind, that busy, busy mind, and shift and set the tone for the evening in a completely different way. I find if I meditate in the morning and if I meditate even for a short amount of time or do this kind of walk or a meditative walk, something outside, it seems to shift me very quickly. And the rest of my evening can be much calmer and I seem to be a little bit more productive. So play with this. If you're a person that struggles with anxiety, a to-do list that is so big that you just seem like you can't get ahead of it, um, you still have the same list, but it's how you take care of yourself in the process. And always learning to get out of your mind, surrender, and allow the divine in more is always the way to help you feel more calm, centered, connected, and grounded. Other things that can happen upon your walk is something called day signs. And I absolutely love day signs. For me, they speak volumes. Years and years ago, I was drawn to a book. I was walking into a bookstore and I was drawn to this book. And I love Stephen Farmer, Animal Spirit Guides. I can't say enough about this book. And what I love about it. So let's say, for example, this is a real life example. Um, Day signs are about animals acting peculiar. Okay. So, for example, I was sitting in my backyard and all of a sudden I had swarms of dragonflies. Now, that does not happen normally. You might see a dragonfly. Okay. And that's okay. But they were landing all over me. They were swarming all through my yard. I mean, it was just absolutely amazing to see these beautiful creatures. So, what I like about this, and I use that dragonfly example. So, what it says, if a dragonfly shows up, the meaning of that. So, at that particular time, it was about looking at deceitfulness or illusion. And it just so happened in my life, there was some people that were in my life that had malintent, and I was aware of it, but maybe not the degree. And when I received this, it was a strong reminder. In that actual day in my work environment, a lot of things had occurred. And so it was like, okay, this is confirmation from the divine that this really is a negative relationship and things need to shift. And so you can utilize them in that way. The book is just fantastic. I remember another time I was at my favorite lake where I go to all the time. And there was a person that was trying to come into my life and they were, pursuing me pretty hard. And I had a fox come literally right in front of me I could have reached out and touched it. And I was walking on a path. It stopped, looked right at me, and just kept on walking. And I thought, well, that's extremely unusual. That does not normally happen. You might see one, but they don't come right up and just stare at you and then move on. So when you looked up the meaning of the fox, it was about, you know, some hidden intentions. People were being a sly fox. So these are just some examples of how the animals can show up in your life. Another great example is I literally could be driving and I'll see a hawk that will swoop right in front of my car, or I'll hear them. And I'm thinking, okay, that's an unusual. You might see them, but maybe not quite like that. Like, hello, they're making their presence known and being right there in your face. So remember, the hawk is teaching us about the perspective of looking at the hawk eye perspective. So maybe I was too focused on tasks and not really seeing the bigger picture. And that's exactly what was happening with some situations that were going on. So we can use these day signs to help us receive information from spirit. So day signs are great. And if you are interested in that, Ted Andrews also has Animal Speak, and then the Stephen Farmer book. I just can't say enough about them. So spirit works with us always. You know, that's another saying, is that the divine is always trying to communicate with us, whether or not we're paying attention. So when you're walking in nature and you're breathing in and you're shifting your breath, you are calming your body. You are shifting out of whatever mindset you were in, and you are more open to receive and to pay attention. So if you decide that this is something that you may want to do, I would highly recommend journaling your experience. Do it every day or as often as you can over a month period or longer, but like, just, you can do an experiment. You can do a little challenge, if you will, and see what information do you receive from spirit and how are you receiving it? Do you hear spirit like I do? Do you see spirit? Do you just have a knowingness, a gut instinct, your feelings? We're all psychic. We all have psychic abilities. It's whether we choose to develop them. This is a very simple way to learn to develop them. And it's just serving you in so many ways. It's helping your body, like I talked about earlier, in so many positive ways. So let's say maybe you're even struggling through a meditative walk. What I would suggest is grounding. Hug a tree. That happens to me a lot on this synchronistic walk. Spirit may say, just go and hug the tree. It will shift you. If you see spirit, a lot of trees have spirit within them, and they're all living beings. So they have an energy and a frequency. And if you can tune into that, boy, that will shift you really quickly. And that will decrease those positive ions very, very quickly. So maybe sitting down in the grass or in the sand or something like this, and taking a few deep breaths. And before you decide to do that synchronistic walk, that may be enough to shift you. But you don't want to put headphones on and go for a walk outside. That's not going to do it. That's distraction. That's not going to allow you to hear the divine and go through. You need to really learn to let go. So, they talk about also in the metaphysical community, and I talk a lot about it, is learning how to meditate so that you can start to get out of your own way. Try a walking meditation. If you are a person that struggles with ADHD, a lot of anxiety, your mind goes nonstop, you have a really challenged time to just close your eyes and just go into a deep meditation, then you can try walking meditation. You can try guided meditations. There's so many ways in which you can learn to start to let go. I also, if you're going to do this kind of synchronistic walk while you're driving, I just caution you to make sure that you're paying attention. You may want to try to do this as a passenger and have the driver, if they're willing to take direction, um, play with it and see. Especially if you're going on long journeys. I do it even if going to work. I ask the divine when I get in the car, I always ask for my travel angels and I ask the divine to guide my route, however it needs to be. And I'm just open for that. And I'll tell you, they have kept me out of accident after accident after accident when I pay attention. And they can help you learn. This is just one way that you can do it, but the same principle then can expand to every aspect of your life where you just start to trust. Wear the blue shirt today because we talked about colors. You may hear that, you know, to wear certain colors, and it can help you with communication. It can help you when you're interacting with somebody. If you develop your intuition just from learning how to do these things, these skill sets, it helps you in all aspects of your life, right? Because the more you hear spirit, the more you receive information from spirit, it helps you in all aspects of your life. What if you're having a conversation with somebody and your gut instincts, or you hear they're not telling the truth? There's something about this you need to be cautious with. Same thing as the synchronistic walk, right? You may hear, nope, don't go down that path. No, let's go this way. Let's go this way. So just think about how this can really apply in your daily life. All of these things are in my book. If you have not gotten your copy, this is a great little tiny book that is very easy to use, Empowering Intuitives, the Spiritual Toolkit for the Modern World. And little simple exercises are extremely powerful and will do the job of building your psychic abilities. And the more you build your psychic abilities, the more you can receive and connect to the divine. And one of the big challenges for us in this lifetime is that we feel disconnected from the divine. Sometimes we can feel alone. Nobody understands us. We can have a lot of anxiety and fear instead of just trusting the path that we're on and knowing that the divine is guiding it and helping you. So a lot of what I talk about is about you building your intuition and allowing the divine more and more access to you and more interaction with you on a daily. When you learn and embrace life like that, your life shifts completely because you no longer, well, I guess the way to say this, I was going to say, is you don't feel like it's only your responsibility in life, but we are responsible for our own actions. So, but you know that they're behind you, and you know if you are making a positive decision or a not so positive decision, spirit may say, do you really want to do that? And you're going to say, I don't want to hear it. Yes, I'm going to do it. And that's okay because we have free will, but building your intuition. So, synchronistic walk, meditative walk, being outside as much as you can is extremely important. And not only that, but think about your sense of wonder. As adults, we're so busy, we don't pay attention to play. You can think about being outside as a form of play. I know when I was a child, you couldn't get me until those street lights were on, and then I was still begging to be outside, because it just felt so good to our physical, emotional, and spiritual bodies. So we need more of that now more than ever, because the things going on in the universe are really holding mirrors for us to shift the things that we need to shift. And we need the tools in order to do the work. So, like I said, if you want to learn more, pick up a copy of my book. Practice some of these things. I promise you, if you document your journey through a journal, you will see your growth. And that to me is one of the best things is when you can see all of your hard work. You can see how you're trying things. I like to be the researcher. But when I see the proof in the pudding and I start to receive more from the divine and I start to see those changes, I prove it to myself. And that's just fuels me to keep going, right? So have fun with this. This is meant to be a fun way of building your intuition. There's lots of ways to do it, but I like to have fun when I do it. And I like to work body, mind, and spirit. So we are going to do that by just doing a synchronistic walk. All right, guys. Well, I hope that you find that valuable. And I am so excited about this. And I do this every night. And well, of course, now I have a puppy. So we're going for walks and we are doing synchronistic walks. And it is fun when you do it with other people too. So get outside, get your bodies moving. You will be very thankful that you did. All right, guys, that's it for me this week. I hope that you have a terrific week, and I will see you back here next Thursday. Namaste.